guys, this is Charlie from Charlie's Awesome World of Adventures, and welcome to the 4th day of the 12 days of Christmas. And today, I'll be giving you my review on The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Set 183 years before the events chronicled in the original trilogy of films, it tells the fate of the House of Helm Hammerhand, the legendary king of Rohirrim. A sudden attack by Rolf, a clever and ruthless lord of Rohirrim with dubious ancestry, having many ties to Dunham. He seeks vengeance for the death of his father, forces Helm and his people to make a daring last stand in the ancient stronghold of the Humber, a mighty fort that will later to come to be known as Helm's Deep. Finding herself in an increasingly desperate situation, Hera, the daughter of Helm must summon the will to lead the resistance against a deadly enemy intent on their total destruction. And yeah, as it's been a while since the last adventure, but it's about time we return to Middle Earth for not just a new movie, but an all-new animated movie. And it may come to a shock to many when I say that I know nothing about Lord of the Rings. I've never seen any of the movies, never read any of the books. I've got no knowledge on this franchise whatsoever. So this review will definitely be coming from a newcomer who knows little to absolutely nothing about the Lord of the Rings. That being said, and when I saw the trailer for this movie, I was quite curious and thought it was going to be an awesome feature. I was going to try watch the original trilogy at least, but I never got around to watching it. And seeing as this film takes place 183 years before all the events of those films, I think it's okay for a newcomer to come into this. So I gave the feature a watch, and despite the mixed reception from critics, I kind of enjoyed this one. Like, it wasn't one of the best films of the year, but I liked it for what it was and had a good time. I'm beginning with the characters. They are pretty complex and quite interesting. Granted, some I do wish had more screen time than others. There were a few that did feel a little undeveloped. But for the most part, these characters were quite interesting. Let's begin with the daughter of Helm Hammerhand and Hela. A woman with great skill and is the fastest rider of its fleet. However, when this war occurs, she's put in a tough ace to defend her former friend or fight with him to protect Rohirrim. It makes her such a complex and interesting character that I did get kind of invested with throughout the feature. Next there is her father, Helm Hammerhand, and the ruler of Rohirrim. I really like how he's built as the big tough king that rules Hammerhand. But after this war starts, his toughness starts to drive to insanity levels as he does anything he can and to protect his people pull from Wolf. Oh, and then there is the villain himself, Wolf. Oh, he is technically the greedy villain that wants revenge on our heroes for the death of his father. But I felt like there was a lot of missed opportunities with him, mainly with between the relationship between him and Hela. From the movie, it seemed like they used to be good friends, and I think that's a great idea, having two old friends being forced into this war against each other for being turned into enemies. The potential is right there. However, the film doesn't really go much in depth of how Hela and Wolf used to be friends, and only showing Wolf offers this black and villain that wants power were over Rohirrim. As for the rest of the characters, their roles are pretty small and minimal. Or some of them do have an interesting arcs, but all names are as big as Hela, Helm, Hammerhand, and Wolf, so they are pretty minor and forgettable. But however, if there is one great thing I can say about these characters, is that they are given some fantastic voice acting. Each one of the actors did do a fantastic job with their performances here. Some of my favourites include Brian Cox as Helm Hammerhand, Gala Wise as Hera, and Luke Putt as Antello as Wolf. All three of them did a fantastic job with their performances, bringing their characters to life. And even the side actors also did really well as well. And also, delivering in some great performances. Next, there's the story. In this epic war, that definitely seems like a great story to tell. I really like how this is a really rich and interesting story. That sets up things that can be found and the other Lord of the Rings films. And as a prequel, it does give references to what will happen later during the trilogy. Granted, as the newcomer didn't get most of the references, but I do think those fans will enjoy it. That being said, while the story is pretty done on its own, I feel like it's going for a certain fan base. And I'm not talking about the fans of Lord of the Rings. I'm actually talking about non-fans. Allow me to explain. As this is a prequel, its job is to try to get non-fan and it's interested with Lord of the Rings, so they can start with this one and then be interested to watch all the other films afterwards. However, it focuses way too much on being interesting for newcomers, to the point where I don't feel like there's much actually already existing fan base to be interested by. It feels like it has to explain in every little detail of how Hammerhand came to be, and how this war and Rohirrim started, and how it would affect Middle Earth forever. Also, it's worth noting that this is considered one of the longest animated films in history, with a running time of 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now, I know it's not easy for an animated film to be more than 2 hours, but when pulled off well, they can have excellent results. A great example of this is last year's Spider-Man and Across the Spider-Verse. I suppose it took advantage of its 2 hour and 20 minute runtime, and left for amazing results. I'll say for the most part, the runtime wasn't a problem. I felt it was well paced. It's not many moments dragged on. However, I do feel like it wanted to go longer. I say this because a lot of the elements in the film happen way too fast. As it quickly jumps from one plot point to another, not giving the audience enough time to breathe. As a result, it can make the film feel a bit jarring at some points. When the film goes too fast, and it's hard to keep up with everything that's happening. I felt like they were afraid either making an animated feature way too long. Granted, it's not a huge issue, and it probably would have been better if it's like another 10 or 15 minutes longer. Go to express everything in great detail. But I was quite surprised instead of the film feeling too slow, it felt a bit too fast. However, that doesn't change the fact that the storyline is quite interesting. Well, I already said that the relationship between Inher and Wolf feels quite rushed. We don't really see much to their friendship before, or the impact is still pretty strong, showing only these two former friends and that have been turned into enemies. I mean, he's with one wanting to try to see the goodness inside a former friend, and even though that goodness is fully gone, it's an interesting dynamic if that was handled mostly well. And then there is the animation. Now, I'm not usually a huge fan of anime. I've watched a few Studio Ghibli films. It was like The Cat's Return, Anna from Up on Poppy Hill, but anime has never been my style of animation. That being said, though, oh boy, yeah, this film looks incredible. A great example of this is all the detail that was put into Rohirrim. And the animation makes it feel like this big medieval kingdom that's been enhanced over the years. It is putting in enough details possible to make it stand out. On top of that, and it also does a great job of with the scale. You're not afraid to make him Rohirrim seem so big. On top, also, so the designs stay really true. With the previous Lord of the Rings films, and with that anime style, it does feel like even if that was removed, it would fit well into the world of the Lord of the Rings. In fact, the movements are pretty close to real life. Also, so the zoom out shots are incredible. I don't usually talk about these shots, but I thought they were handled fantastically. There were some shots that were so good, I was convinced that it was a live action film like the other Lord of the Rings films. That's how good it can be. But where the animation is at its true strength is with the action scenes. Those are the moments that show the most intensity and play with all the colour as an effect. This is especially the use of fire, where they add a bit more of a spectacle to those moments and increasing the intensity and leaving the viewer on the edge of their seat. And it all comes to a head with an intense and exciting climax that did get me fully invested. So overall, as a newcomer, I can't say that this is the best Lord of the Rings film, but I do think that this was a solid effort. For The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim serves as a great animated prequel to the Lord of the Rings franchise. While it does try its best to introduce newcomers a bit too much, and some of the characters don't have much screen time, it does make up for it with a solid story, incredible animation, interesting main characters, to intense action, and some fantastic voice acting. And I do feel like newcomers will be really interested with this prequel and have a good time. as for huge fans of Lord of the Rings, and I will say that it is a must watch. Jamie will probably have a good time with this, but I'd set your expectations down a little low. Because it's one of those films that tries to introduce more to new fans than be pleasing to old comers. I know very little about about the Lord of the Ring, and all the Avengers in Middle Earth. But at least with this animated one, I was satisfied with this war. Hence why I'm giving this film a solid 8 out of 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!